All right. The Court of Appeal and for the Sixth District of the State of Florida is now in session. The Honorable Dan Traver, Judge, presiding. All persons having business before the court draw near, give attention, and you will be heard. May God save the United States of America, the state of Florida, and this honorable court.
Good morning, and please remain standing. We are in session for a ceremonial session of the 6th District Court of Appeal. My name is Dan Traver. I'll introduce my colleagues in a moment, but for the time being, I'd like to recognize the Honorable Stacey Pechtel, who is our Clerk of Court, for our benediction.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, as we gather today to mark the end of a formal education and the beginning of a professional career, we welcome your spirit and presence here among us. We offer our gratitude for these new lawyers who are accepting the privilege of representing others in our courts of law and equity. And we offer our gratitude for those who have supported and encouraged them today. May all who hear this oath today be inspired by it. May these new lawyers have keen ears to hear and open hearts to receive and listen to your concepts spoken in this oath today, those concepts of honor, truth, justice, and mercy. Amen.
And my colleague to the right of me, Carrie-Ann Wozniak, is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now everybody, please be seated. Yeah.
Oh. Sorry.
All right, so first, let me introduce to my left my remaining colleague. This is Judge John Stargell. He's here from right here in Polk County. Judge Wozniak and I have traveled from Orange County today. I'd also like to introduce to you the gentleman who opened court. This is Charlie Crawford, and he's our marshal. This is a ceremonial session, so it's a little bit different than your normal court proceeding. In ceremonial sessions, you are free to move about, you're free to take pictures, you're free to take video. Cheering and restrained yelling is encouraged and accepted. This is not your normal court proceeding, and we're really happy about that because ceremonial sessions are really the only time when we can make everybody in a courtroom happy. So that is what we would like to try to do this morning. We're a new court. We were just started in January. We don't have a full-time courthouse. That is why you are in a Frank Lloyd Wright designed library on the campus of Florida Southern, which immediately for me became one of the coolest places that I've ever presided over or been in a court for. And I hope that you guys can look back on this swearing in and say the same thing. This is a truly unique experience, and you're the first group of inductees ever to do something like this. I had a couple of thoughts that I wanted to share before we go into the rest of the program. And I hope you'll indulge me. You know, the nature of these proceedings is kind of in the nature of advice. And I don't necessarily know that advice is ever going to be a substitute for experience. But having been where you guys are, I wanted to try to think of a couple of things that might be able to help smooth what can be occasionally a bumpy road in the practice of law. So I have three things. First thing would be to remember that a career is nothing but a series of new events that you have the courage to undertake. You may occasionally feel in the practice of law that you don't know what you're doing. This is sometimes because you don't know what you're doing. But so much of being a successful lawyer is being willing to face those new scary experiences without betraying your nerves or without trying to timidly pass the experience to somebody else. And so much of succeeding in those moments is being more prepared than everyone else. If you are the most prepared person in the room, you will never embarrass yourself. One of the things that I always tried to do, whether it would be in my previous career as a business lawyer or my previous career as a trial court judge, when I was preparing for something, I used to try to think about what the most outlandish and difficult and hard thing that could be to happen to me whenever I went into the courtroom. And I found that if I was prepared for those slim possibilities, it meant that I was prepared for pretty much everything else. Second, unfortunately, you are going to run into some unprofessional people. Older lawyers are going to yell at you, condescend to you, and try to take advantage of you. Clients may try to get you to take a position that violates the oath that you're about to take. Your value system and your integrity are something that predate your law license. They're also more important. Just remember that when somebody yells at you, they do so from a position of weakness. Instead of having an emotional reaction, ask yourself why somebody would act in this ridiculous manner. And more often than not, you're going to learn something that helps you or helps your client. Above all else, remember that in a blink of the eye, you're going to be the more experienced attorney. And you're going to have the opportunity to condescend to people, yell at people, and try to take advantage of other people. Don't do that. And don't do that just because it's something that you didn't enjoy having happen to you when you were younger. Just don't do it because it's the right thing to do. Lastly, remember that being a lawyer is something that you do and not something that defines who you are. If you are trying in the first 2 minutes of a conversation to shoehorn in somehow that you're a lawyer, you're doing this the wrong way. Return your friends' messages with the same promptness that you return your clients' messages. Travel. Read books that have nothing to do with the law. Have interests that cannot be captured in 6-minute increments. Be loyal to your friends, your family, and your value system. I'm excited for all of you. You're going to do great things. I would now like to recognize for the presentation of successful candidates for admission to the Florida Bar, the Honorable Sangina Clay, on behalf of the Florida Bar, the Florida Board of Bar Examiners. Ms. Clay.
May it please the court. Pursuant to the rules of the Supreme Court relating to admissions to the bar, the candidates have been rigorously examined by the board, both as to the knowledge of the law and understanding of the standards and ideas of the legal profession. In addition, their backgrounds have been subjected to searching character and fitness investigations. On behalf of the Florida Board of Bar Examiners, I certify that these candidates are fully qualified and that each enjoys the enthusiastic recommendation of the board for admission to the Bar of Florida. I will now call your names. If you would come forward, please. Brooke Blackman, Sarah Ann Green, Jason Meyer, and Russell Steinberg. And if you would inform us of your law school, please.
Go ahead.
University of Denver.
White University.
Duquesne University School of Law.
Wonderful.
On behalf of the board, I move that these candidates be admitted to the Florida Bar.
Thank you very much, Ms. Clay. To administer the oath, my colleague, Judge John Stargill.
Welcome. Thank you all for being here. And I just want to echo the words that Judge Traver said. It's an honor for us, for you all to be the first ones in the 6 DCA to accept this oath. So welcome to the bar, and if you could each raise your right hand, repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Florida.
I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Florida.
I will maintain the respect
I will maintain respect
due to courts of justice and judicial officers.
to the courts of justice and judicial officers.
I will not counsel or maintain any suit or proceedings
I will not counsel or maintain any suit or proceedings
which shall appear to me to be unjust,
which shall appear to me to be unjust,
nor any defense except such as I believe
nor any defense except such I believe
to be honestly debatable under the law of the land.
to be honestly debatable under the law of the land.
I will employ for the purposes of maintaining
I will employ for the purposes of maintaining
the causes confided in me
the causes confided in me,
such means only as are consistent with truth and honor,
such as only are consistent with truth and honor,
and will never seek to mislead the judge
and will never seek to mislead the judge
or jury
or jury
by any artifice or false statement of fact or law.
by any artifice or false statement of fact or law.
I will maintain the competence
I will maintain the confidence
and preserve inviolate the secrets of my clients,
and preserve inviolate the secrets of my clients,
and will accept no compensation
and will accept no compensation
in connection with their business
in connection with their business,
except from them or with their knowledge and approval.
except from them or with their knowledge and approval.
To opposing parties and their counsel,
To opposing parties and their counsel,
I pledge fairness,
I pledge fairness,
integrity, and civility,
integrity, and civility,
not only in court,
not only in court,
but also in all written and oral communication.
but also in all written and oral communications.
I will abstain from all offensive personality
I will abstain from all offensive personality
and advance no fact prejudicial
and advance no fact prejudicial
to the honor or reputation of a party or witness,
to the honor or reputation of the party or witness,
unless required by the justice
unless required by the justice
of the cause with which I am charged.
of the cause with which I am charged.
I will never reject
I will never reject
from any consideration
from any consideration
personal to myself
personal to myself,
the cause of the defenseless or oppressed,
cause of the defenseless or oppressed,
or delay anyone's cause for lucre or malice.
or delay anyone's cause for lucre or malice.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome to the club. Please take your seats and be congratulated by your families. Now I'd like to recognize Victor Smith, who is here representing the Florida Bar. Mr. Smith.
Good morning. May it please the court.
Yes, sir.
My name is Victor Smith. I'm the Board of Governor representative here from the 10th Judicial Circuit, and I just want to say congratulations to each of you, from Gary Lesser, President of the Florida Bar, Scott Westheimer, President-elect of the Florida Bar, and from our Executive Director, Josh Doyle. You have made a great accomplishment today. Years of hard work coming to a conclusion with being sworn in by this honorable court. It's got to be a good feeling. It was certainly a good feeling to me about 25 years ago now. I was thinking about this while I was driving over earlier this morning. My dad would be a 50-year member this year. I'm a 25-year member this coming up year. And the experiences that you'll have as a member of the Florida Bar will be outstanding. You're going to work harder than you ever thought that you would have to work in your life. But that work will be rewarding, and you'll be a member and be part of the fabric of the Florida Bar, of our society, of your community. And I would encourage each and every one of you to work hard to to enjoy that leadership role, to be proud of your role as a member of the Florida Bar. Going back to Judge Traver's remarks just briefly, he had mentioned return the phone calls. Return the phone calls. I served as the chairman of our grievance committee here locally for a period of time. It would reduce the work of the Florida Bar exponentially if everybody would follow that very straightforward tip Judge Traver just offered. Seems like a simple thing to do, but when you're busy, you have too much on your plate, sometimes you'll put things off. If you just simply return the phone calls, things will work better within your practice. You'll get along better with the Florida Bar. You won't have dealings with the grievance committee, and that should be every lawyer's goal every day. I would encourage each of you to participate in your local bar activities, make friends, get to know folks, be part of that community, and enjoy the fabric of that community. Avoid trouble, return phone calls, and work hard and really, really enjoy your opportunity and your privilege to be a member of our great bar. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. There is a longstanding tradition throughout the district courts of the state of Florida that the student who scores the highest in the district is invited to speak to the rest of the incoming class who attends. This year, the highest score in the 6th District Court of Appeal was recorded by Jason Meyer, and I'd like to ask him to, if he'd be so inclined, to make some remarks at this time.
Thank you, Judge. This is a small group, so I'm going to try and make this a little more casual maybe than I had it on the paper. And also, very quickly want to note that Judge Traver invited me to speak for about 7 to 10 minutes. I note that only because I'm going to do something you may not hear from lawyers very much again. I think I'm going to come in under that time.
Which is always welcome.
Yes, we appreciate that.
So first and foremost, I want to add my congratulations to all of the newly admitted Florida lawyers. You have accomplished something truly special and should be incredibly proud. I will also note this is my 3rd time going through this process completely in different states. I do not recommend it if you can avoid that. But I will note that Florida was easily the most challenging of the 3. So I do not know what that says about Florida, but I know what it says about everyone in the room here. And you really have done something impressive and rare. I also want to add something very quickly with respect to any of you who may be more recent law grads. So I was in law school from 2008 to 2011. In case you don't remember, or were perhaps in middle school at the time, there was something of a global recession going on. It hit the legal profession quite hard. And so I know a little bit about the stress that can add on the law school experience. And so I just wanted to take a moment for anyone who was in school, for any part of your school the last 2 or 3 years, with the shutdowns and the virtual learning and the delayed exams, and I'm sure a million other distractions. But nonetheless, are standing here today being sworn as an attorneys, I just thought that was worth mentioning and acknowledging on its own, because I do think that was something I certainly, I know it's a club you didn't choose to be a part of, but I think the perseverance and the flexibility that you've shown to get to this point is really going to serve you through the rest of your career. I also want to quickly add my congratulations and thank you to all of those who helped us arrive at this moment today, whether it's partners, children, parents, teachers, classmates, coworkers, or friends. Nobody arrived here alone. Through law school, through the bar exam, perhaps through moves or relocations, there are all of those who supported us, who put up with us, and who certainly deserve to share in this accomplishment. I will also note that as someone who has been in practice for a little while now, and I think this echoes the other comments we've heard today, law can be a very demanding career, and those relationships are going to serve you at least as much looking forward as they have up to this point. And so it is important, probably more important than ever, to prioritize, make the time to maintain those relationships, and I also think it will make you a happier and more effective lawyer in the process. So I was asked to say just a few words about my hopes for what's next. To do that, I do want to take just a quick moment and talk about how I got here today. So I have been practicing law for about 12 years, all of that in St. Louis, where my wife and I are both from, where both of our families still live, where quite candidly, I was very happy in my law career at the firm that I still am at, the same firm. But after a few difficult years, we determined that there were no local schools that offered services we needed for one of our children. And so last October made the decision to move down to Florida, where he's now been in an excellent school nearby in Orlando. And so I mentioned this, first, again, state without reciprocity, but we chose for the school and here we are. And the reason I mention this now is because although this moment may look different for all of us, I didn't need to pass the Florida bar to practice law, but I did need it to be where I need to be with my family now. And so I just want to acknowledge, I'm sure we all have very different but equally meaningful reasons to celebrate today. As far as what I hope to achieve here in Florida, as I try to think about it, what I really thought were not necessarily career goals, but more checkpoints, things, the way I want to practice, not what I want to accomplish, but the way I want to accomplish it. And so I thought about some of the lessons that have helped me to this point and I thought might be helpful to share. Again, I am glad and encouraged to hear that I think they echo a little bit of what you've heard already. The first one is a piece of advice that I received in my very first law job. After my 1L year, I interned in the DC Public School District. The general counsel there was a man named Jim Sandman, who had been the managing partner at Arnold and Porter in DC, left that job out of a desire to serve his community and the schools. And that is where I met up with him in the DC Public School District. And then actually after that, he went on to lead the Legal Services Corporation of DC. And my very first day, and it's my very first day of my very first law job, Jim said something that stuck with me since. He said, always remember as a lawyer that before everything else, this is a service profession. It doesn't matter if you're in private practice, government work, nonprofits. Always ask yourself, who's my client and how can I serve them? Whether that client is a CEO, a personal injury plaintiff, the head of an agency, or the public at large, if you always approach the job with that principle of service in mind, then I think you will find both success and great satisfaction in legal work. The second thing I've learned, and this hits on the same remarks we heard from the bar a moment ago. The second thing is the very best resource in our profession, without a doubt, is the people. So take advantage of the opportunity. Rely on your coworkers. Bounce a legal theory off your office mates. As the judges have mentioned, make sure that they're comfortable coming back and doing the same to you, both now and later on in your careers. If you're a solo practitioner in particular, find ways to stay connected through the local bar. Nobody is going to understand the challenges that you encounter and the triumphs like your colleagues. So build those relationships early and they will serve you for a long, long time. It is certainly the only way I felt comfortable making the move that we did was because of the support that I got from my colleagues. I will also note that I spent the last 10 years in a 200 lawyer office and the past 6 months working remotely from my home. And so I feel this very starkly. The hardest thing about that is, without a doubt, the loss of those day-to-day interactions with my colleagues. It is also part of why I'm so thrilled to be here today over this hump, participating in the ceremony and ready to join the legal community here in Central Florida, which leads me to my last point. Being a lawyer necessarily means being part of a community. This is another outstanding resource for us, but it is also a responsibility. The people you see here, the lawyers, the judges, the clerks, chances are you're going to have repeat interactions with at least some of these folks over the course of your career. Of course, we all want to go out there and be fierce advocates, but we can do so with integrity and professionalism and respect. And I can tell you from experience, not only does that make your day-to-day work more enjoyable, but it will also serve both you and your clients in the long run. We also have a place in the community at large. My career has been mostly in private practice, and I certainly have client victories that I'm incredibly proud of, but it is the use of my privilege as a lawyer to give back to the community, serving on a nonprofit board, pro bono representation in a prisoner civil rights suit, helping my firm start a tutoring program in the local elementary schools. These are the things that make being a lawyer not just something I'm proud of professionally, but personally as well. So as you walk out of here, think about what being a lawyer means to all of you. Our paths are certainly going to look very different from this moment on, but see that as a huge opportunity. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what everyone here does with it. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. That was excellent. we're going to close here in a second. What will happen after we close is that I will stick around to actually sign those oaths so that you can prove to people that you were here, which is helpful. My colleagues may be able to stick around for a moment to take pictures if you guys would like. Like I said, it's ceremonial session, so you can move around and do whatever you'd like in that regard. And I'd also like to personally congratulate all four of you as well. So when we recess, some of us might exit, some of us might stick around, but definitely make sure that you get the proof. Always terribly helpful. All right, I'm going to ask everybody to stand and recognize our clerk again for a benediction.
Holy Spirit, may this oath be forever in the minds of these new lawyers and the judges who administered it. May all of us walk with you as our guide to speak truth and do justice. May we go in peace. Amen.
And we are adjourned. But before we do that, let's just give yourselves one more round of applause. Thank you. We'll be in recess.